Alright, iPad Air. First step after making sure the device is completely off and it's gone through its checks to make sure everything is functional. You start the disassembly process. Use the heat gun first to start heating up the perimeter. Not too much just to get it going, and we use the desoldering station here. Put it around 170, give or take. Doesn't matter too much where you start. It'll depend on how badly the device is broken. This has a nice gash at the top, so this is where I'm going to begin disassembling. Let the heat do most of the work for you. Rip off some pieces and throw them out as you go. The sides don't have very much adhesive at all. So almost once you get it started pretty good, you can keep upward pressure along the side so you're not scratching the LCD. And going down the whole side. You really want to make sure you keep this spudger angled upwards with upward pressure on the glass so there's no chance of it touching the LCD, because if you scratch that, there's really no going back. Keep the heat along the side, not in the middle where the LCD is. I'll use these spudgers as well to keep it from resealing. A little more meat down here, a little tougher. Button, you want to stay near the bottom, don't go up too high. There's a cable there, we're not concerned about damaging it, but still sometimes we do need to reuse it, so it's good practice just to be mindful. Cable is running right along the side of the button here, so as long as we stay down here below it, we're not going to damage the cable, but again, the new digitizers come with the cable, so we're not overly concerned about damaging it at this time. It's pretty smashed up on this side, which is actually making it easier to take this out. Not needing a whole lot of heat. Let's get over here. There are some cables right here where I'm hitting it right now. There's some cables right here we got to be mindful of. I'm just going to go back and start back at the top where I was at. Sometimes it's easier to just work your way down. Don't cook the camera. Look around the camera. It's popped up there. You can see it right there. Keep the heat clear of it. Over here. Let the heat do the work for you. If it starts chipping and breaking away like that, slow down. I'm going a little quickly on this. Take your time. side started, it'll be a lot easier. Side is started. Got it angled upwards. And I'm kind of just twisting a little bit as I'm going. And the heat took the next area over. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get under the glass there. And back out and kind of dive down gently. Being careful not to get in what the LCD is. Once it starts breaking like this, sometimes it's just easier to a little tear. So if we get down to where the cables are down here, can't keep the heat on because look, so just kind of read here. Slide up the pressure. Take a peek, see where I'm getting stuck at. Wi-Fi is okay. Just aid it a little bit. Make sure we're clear here. Well done. It's purely hang on a little bit, and there we go. So that part is almost finished. Tilt that up for now, so I'm gonna need that again. I don't want to do too much more picking while the LCD is still in place if I don't have to. Now this factory tape is pretty tough. You can use it almost to remove more glass with it. Use it to just peel up. It's cut there. There's another piece here. I can just usually just get under it, slowly pull. The glass will come with it. Doesn't always work. You might have to use a little bit of heat. You might want to turn it down so you don't damage the LCD getting that close. I'm going to cut down the heat to about 140, 150. Make sure I stay away from that LCD. Various other tools you can use here. Razor will damage it. Or have another flat edge here. Kind of start it. And I'll get it to where I can grab with my fingers. If at all possible, I want to pull it with my fingers. I'm not using a tool here. Just so I don't risk damaging the LCD. Some glass here, some resistance. I'm going to wait, heat it up. A little more tugging, constant pressure, nothing crazy. That part's done. I guess we'll start up here now. I'm just going to cut it here to start a piece. Start this piece of tape. Tape is pretty tough. So, if you're gentle, you can get the glass to stick to the tape and reduce your cleaning time. You can really cut all this right now. I usually leave it intact because I accidentally turn the device on again. I'm always double checking, make sure I haven't turned it on accidentally. iPad Airs and Minis do not like being turned on when the digitizer is being removed, or the LCD. Find more tools for the job. It's pretty good here, so I'll leave that right there. I'll leave the heat on, just turn it upwards so it doesn't cook anything. Before I forget, I remove these foam pads here. They cause the digitizer to ghost after the installation, we found out, so just take them off an hour later, does not matter. I have no air. Can you turn on the compressor for me, Nick? Can you turn on the compressor for me? Yes. Take out these screws, keep them in order. There are different lengths. Whatever orientation usually place the iPad, that's the way I put the screws in. I usually do it horizontally like this. So I'll put the screws over here, 2 and 2. This works well for me. I'm just taking this out now. I have to do more cleanup on it. I want to get this LCD out as soon as possible, just to reduce any risk of me damaging it by using tools. So here I have some glass here. I don't want to pull up and try to push the glass out of the way, because that will actually not work. Tried it, been there, done that, broke the LCD. So you have to have this be pretty loose here. No chance of glass getting in the way, so I'm going to have to, unfortunately, chip this big chunk out here now, rather than later. We don't like doing this stuff with the LCD in there, but at least we're free now. I can do the rest later. Have the air compressor going right now, so I have to wait until that fills up a little more before I can start spraying. Gotta shut this thing off. I did have the heat on, but I like to lean this up against there, so I'm just gonna shut it off for now. Screws, I believe these are the same size, but I keep them in the same orientation as it was before, just in case, because there are some screws in the iPad mini for sure, but they are different lengths. Start getting that sprayed down. And right here, never use metal tools in here, always plastic. Pull up this little protecting tab here. I don't reuse that myself. Lift that up gently, that will rip off. Pull this out. A little bit of adhesion right here. And also here, be very gentle when you take this off. They come off fairly easy. It's easy to get overzealous and just start prying, but sometimes these pins will actually stick to this, and they'll be removed from that board, and then you have to send it off for micro soldering, which is never good. At this point, we want to save this button. This button has a rubber gasket around it that is critical in having the new one function properly. The ones that come with the digitizers don't have that gasket, and they're very easily pushed inside the glass and get stuck underneath it, making them pretty much useless. So do your best to save this button. Sometimes it's easier than others, but this one's not too bad. Just peel it off there, make sure there's no glass around it. So on the fingers, and put it aside for now. We'll put that in the new screen next. So this glass is now useless, we can throw that away. Clean up my area a little bit. Just use a razor. Scrape all this glass. You notice I'm wearing gloves. Helps a lot of the small shards from not getting embedded in your skin. Alright, we're still going to make a mess because we have to do a little more of this over here. So let's cool down a little bit, so I'm going to put on some more heat. Keep at the same low temperature. I got this handhold already, so I'm just going to go down, let the heat do the work. It's at 140 right now. It's enough to just give it some basic general heat. Nothing too crazy. Alright, got pretty lucky there. Heat off. A lot of glass left in here. I'm going to blow out. Next part, which is pretty critical, you get all of the residual glass out and the adhesive. Before I start this, I grab a sharp razor, replace it with a brand new one, and you just start scraping. careful and carefully don't slip into the flex cables that are all over this device. The batteries don't want to slip. Some people will use something to kind of slide underneath here, obviously not a paper towel, but a shield to protect the battery. Probably not a bad idea. I just try to be careful, keep my tool along the edge, keep it flat, hope it doesn't slip. Actually, the sharper it is, the easier it is to do this and cause less slippage. It's dull, little slip. Watch the Wi-Fi cable around here, don't really nick it. You have to leave some residue over here, it's not going to hurt anything, just make sure there's no glass in it. Same over here. Kind of do the best you can. If you notice you start digging into that, just back off and go around it, getting really in the corner here. Same thing up this side. Inspect, make sure I got most of the adhesive off. Make sure there's no real bends in the frame. Of course, I could impact the area. Once I do that, I'm going to clean up, make sure my area is clean again. Now we're going to get to the reassembly process, so we don't want any glass hanging out. That might be causing an issue. Spray bottle. Wipe it down. And on all iPads, I personally like to do this as well with a clean paper towel. Apply alcohol to the corner here, and essentially go along the frame. This will clean a little bit more residual adhesive and also give you a chance to feel and or see pieces of glass you may have missed. The edge, make it nice and smooth, that's good. So you get the feel. A little scratch here, that was not too bad. It's not into the glass area, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. Once that is clean, do another shot with the compressed air. So this iPad Air is now ready to have the glass reassembled. The next step is the preparation of the new screen, which is pretty important. You want to make sure that there's no defects on the glass. Nothing more frustrating than putting one together that you realize it's already cracked. This one looks okay. Generally how they come, with the inferior button here. First thing I'll do is I will take off some of this tape they put on here if you can. You'll need to, at least on the bottom here. We'll take this tape off. Begin removing the button, which is usually barely hung on. You can kind of see if I push this too hard, how it comes loose. And they get stuck and it won't come back out. That's what most times it'll come back because of that. Gently pry this button up without scratching the digitizer. As you remove the paint, you can kind of see it. There's the button. No gasket. Here's our new button, which has a gasket on it. Throw that out. Insert the new button. Tabs be relatively horizontal. I want to lift up this dust cover laying inside here. I guess it really depends on if it's, you have to tape this down too, but this has a little notch cut out, so I don't have to go up that far. I'm just going to bend it up out of the way here. Usually keep some tape to the side just to hold that down. This is another part which I've noticed to be pretty critical over time. This need to put a little bit of crazy glue where the tape used to be. whatever it came with is not enough. So take this, lie it down. You can kind of see where the holes on the button are. Take some time to line it up. Get a crazy glue of myself. Just get it there, leave it for a second, let the glue dry. Now I need to attach this. Use these small double-sided tape. I've got about 1.5 inches or so. Too critical here. Just get near where it will line up. Keep this free here, just have it adhered close to the button. I'm going to check the button for functionality and put a finger in the back, press it, hear an audible and tactile click. So that one looks good. The glue still needs to set a little bit, so we can do the next step. Use this Kapton tape, which over the years we've put more and more on it. As of right now, I put a strip on the entire bottom. Rule out missing anything. Try to start this tape. I want to cover up the entire silver area as well as this copper area on the cable itself. Kind of line it up and get it close as you can to that, to where the glass is. Don't go into the glass area. Get as close as you can. Not crazy, but get it close to it. And cut it. So we have this entire piece taped up. That'll actually help hold the home button in. Fix my dust cover. Save my tape. Don't think about it. This thing always causes me problems. Don't think it's really necessary. Anything that will stop the screen from lying flat if it's misaligned, so I'll just remove this. So this cable here, sometimes these come twisted or this is on the wrong side. You want both cables to be underneath this top piece here. And yes, there's on this dust cover, you can't see it in the video, but there's a gap here, or recess. This cable is going to get as close to this central glass area as possible. So as you start in the middle, it's better to go not too close than too close, because you can really back off. Once you get started, we'll walk down to the edge. I do not want to put a fold in this piece over here. The edge, I want it to have a nice rounded corner. So I'm only pushing near the center of the screen. And I'll use this scissors to kind of push down. See how I'm leaving that gap here. I'll fold it down. Some popped up already. This tape is not very good, so you have to be quick on this. Get it down. That should be good. Sometimes we have to put a little more tape on it. You make sure you're not going to see any tape on the inside here. So from all intents and purposes, this should be done. So I'm going to start the reassembly process. Before I forget, which I'd like to do, put some double-sided tape on the iPad Air chassis itself. Middle-sized tape here along the bottom, 2 pieces. Near the corner, walk it toward where the button is. Don't cover any of the gaps here, so get close but not too close. side. Watching these things are flying up again here. Gonna have to keep an eye on that. Top can have a piece put along the entire length or width of it. Like use a spudger to press it down, make it easier to remove the top layer. Skinny tape, if I can find it. So left side, go along the entire length of it, staying as close to the edge as you can. Here, something we did over time, there's a gap here where the cables go. I don't put tape there at all anymore. Used to put it, try to trim it. It always seems to cause issues, and I don't use tape there at all. I actually will use glue during the final steps of the installation. So you kind of see where the recess is. I only tape up to that area, nothing. First thing, digitizer, line it up. I want to feel and hear that click if possible. Sometimes these cables can be a little wider than the originals, so you have to work them in. So as far as that's going to go, you still see the line. It is okay, it is seated. That is in. Just keep the frame on the iPad itself. It's popping up, I don't think that'll be a problem. The LCD. Click, we'll use the desoldering station there to hold that LCD up while I put the screws in. And because I've seen this cause issues, I'll screw the entire LCD down so it'll behave as if it was closed before I turn it on. Remove this inner film. The key part of this is this cable right here. Can't be pinched, can't roll. It's supposed to slide down that little gully right there. That's the hard part, so I'm going to take all this tape off here. See this little tape here being a problem. I have to attach this somehow. here. As you pull it back this way a little bit, and it will slide it down and diagonally get that cable down in the gully. A little bit of pressure on it while I turn it on. Password is 8338. Quick check by moving an icon around the screen. Push the button, make sure that works. You're gonna have ghosting and whatnot if you push down on these lower areas here. This will usually sometimes will cause the screen to jump. It doesn't appear to be doing that right now, so I'm gonna consider that okay, but I'll further test it when I'm done here. Just turn off the screen. Good crazy glue, but somebody keeps messing it up. You really want to make sure that this sucker is clean. Air. I'm doing it several times. Remove 3 sides of the tape, top, left, and bottom. Do the same on the iPad glass. You notice how I left this tape on. You can take it off. I haven't noticed any difference except time, but I'll just make sure I'll take these off as well. This one almost come off the entire way, so I'll just take it off. Okay. 3 sides of tape off. I'll make sure this cable hasn't moved too much. A little bit. Down. Quick shot of air. Close it. Inserting the left side first. Top corner. Bottom corner. Touching the middle as I'm pushing the glass against the side of the iPad this way. Here's where it gets tricky, and the key part. Take off the tape. Those 2 sections that we did. If you look, you can see that cable, how it's resting on the ledge there. If we push it down, it will actually cause issues. You have to push it in a little bit. As you push down the glass, you'll feel it. Feel the pressure get almost completely relieved. There's really nothing. Sometimes we even make an audible click, like when it does so, and the glass will just sit down. This one is forcing up a little bit more than typical, but again, this is why we use the glue. So I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to take the crazy glue. The entire section we did not apply tape to. I will try to force a bead, small bead, of glue into the gap. It's not a very pretty method of doing so, but we'll clean it later. It's very easy to clean glue off of glass and or metal frame. So I use a razor or something with a sharp edge just to tap it, make sure it's in that groove. Probably a little more on here than I'm used to. Get my clamps ready. I'll essentially just the right clamp right on here. You'll see some glue start squeezing out. That is fine. Let it sit. I'm really focusing on clamping this right side here. It's usually sufficient. The button still works. It's happy. Now this left side is completely down. I can do another system check before the glue is fully dry. Just push along the frame, make sure I'm not seeing any ghosting. Right like that. So typically I'll leave it in this frame here for about a half hour to an hour and let it dry. Come back to another system check again after cleaning up the glue, and hopefully that's a done iPad.